Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we'll be going over my settings in MLB The Show 22. We're also going to be going over some of the best hitting tips that you can do and what you can do to get better at MLB The Show 22. And the first thing we're going to do is we are going to load up our saved roster. If you don't have a saved roster, you can go to Vaults and you can search for a roster. There are plenty out there. You go to search and actually find my roster. If you just type in my name, American Blood, it's not specifically a roster I made, it's just one that I downloaded and re-uploaded so you guys can find it through my name. If you guys don't know where else to find it, make sure you search online ID, not name, and then it should pop up right there. With this roster, you're going to use the Reds and you're going to face the Mets to go up against the top pitching with the top hitters that you'll find in your Diamond Dynasty lineup. It's got 22 downloads so far. You can definitely find that out. Once you have that, you will go to file management, you will load that roster, and you will go to custom practice with that roster. So as the away team, we're just going to go ahead and select the Mets. And for the home team, we will select the Reds. Once you're in the practice, you'll press start. You'll go to practice type. You will start out with batting practice. Now keep very close attention here. This is where you want to set up what you struggle with. So I struggle with lefty. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Utley. And my pitcher is going to be Randy Johnson. Now, if you struggle hitting fastballs, go ahead and select fastballs. And I like to put them everywhere, so I don't know where he's throwing them at first. We'll unselect everything but the fastball so we can get used to hitting on legend. Make sure you're hitting on legend. First up, let's go ahead and go over my settings. Legend is my hitting difficulty. Hitting view, I use strike zone high. A lot of people ask, I do use a PCI anchor, and also a lot of people ask about my PCI. PCI center is altitude. PCI outer is basic. Yellow PCI color. Transparency is 100%. And no fade out. For my pitching, I use pinpoint, and my pitching view is strike zone 2. And fielding, we have in play defense is on high, and drifting ball. And defensive shift, I use manual. Now for this exercise, when I do lefty, I like to sit up and high with my PCI anchor, just so I'm ready for that inside pitch, because a lot of times when you play online, they are going to push you inside. Now, if they change that and they're not throwing inside pitches, don't use an anchor. I just feel like the anchor is definitely going to help me. It may not help you. I mean, this is personal preference. This is what I've gotten used to. Obviously, if it's something you get used to, you can absolutely destroy the baseball. Now, another thing you can do, you can actually turn sliders up so the fastballs seem a lot faster than what they are. Because a lot of times when you play online, the pitch speeds seem faster than when you play offline. So if you turn the sliders up on the fastball, that can help out. I don't normally do that just because I don't really play Legend a lot as it is. Once I hit World Series, normally I stop playing. I don't go for like top 50, nothing like that. If I hit World Series, most of the time I do not play very many more games. So Legend works just fine with me with no sliders. But if you want to get even more cracked, definitely turn those sliders on. But as you can see, my timing's pretty good on Legend against the fastball. My PCI is what I normally struggle with online. So that's something that I am trying to improve at. As you can see, I'm not on the ball every single time, but I'm definitely a lot better than what I used to, and my timing feels great on Legend. Now, I am on the Xbox, so my input delay is a lot better than those of you that are on PlayStation. I'm also running 120 hertz on Xbox. For those of you that are on 60, it might be late. I was late too on the PlayStation. I switched, and now I am early on fastballs a lot on Xbox, and it's actually messed up my timing a little bit because now I'm so early that I am not getting to the ball. I'm getting to the ball too early. So it's messing up my PCI even more. But it doesn't matter what system you're on. It doesn't matter the input lag does matter, but at the same time, if you get used to it, it's not such a bad thing. If you play enough, you'll probably get used to it. If not, maybe Xbox is the move. I'm kind of old, so this was kind of the move for me. I don't like being at a performance disadvantage to other players. I want to be on an equal playing field, especially if I ever play competitive or play any tournaments. I want to have that same competitive advantage that my opponent may have. And that's another reason I switched. Now, let's say you feel good about fastballs. You're good to go. You're feeling good. And you're ready to move on. So what we do, we go back to practice type. We go back to batting. We turn on the sliders, the changeup, and the slurves. A lot of times you can do this one pitch at a time. So you start with the fastballs. Okay, then you're like, okay, let's mix it in the curve. But I like to just do all of them. We're going to keep all those zones the same. We're just going to add all the breaking pitches. And this is where I tend to struggle the most with, is I'm so used to hitting fastballs. They throw me a breaking ball and it completely fools me. But if you practice it enough and enough and enough, you're definitely going to get the hang of it. You're going to be able to recognize those pitches a lot faster and be able to react to them even better. Another great tool with this, as we miss a pitch right there, another great tool with this method of practicing is you can practice anything. So if you're struggling with inside pitches, you can have them throw you inside pitches over and over and over again until you get the timing down and your PCI down. For instance, I press start. If I struggle with a certain pitch location, I just completely force them to throw it to me, throw me the inside pitch until I can prove I can hit it every single time, or majority of the time. I'm going to have them throw that pitch as many times until I get it down. And even now, it's a struggle. Inside pitches, lefty-lefty, is probably one of the hardest pitches to hit. Timing's going to be an issue, especially when you're expecting fastball a lot of times and they fool you with breaking balls. But you'd rather be early than late, that's for sure. If you're early, that's good, especially on fastballs. And then just gotta practice your PCI. Another thing that you can do that I really, really like is you do not even swing. You just, if you're practicing your PCI, you don't even have to swing. Just move your PCI to the ball and try to get it there as fast as possible, but don't swing. You're just literally practicing your mechanics with your left thumb on this joystick, and you're not focusing on swinging. Therefore, you're going to spend more time focusing on your PCI placement and your PCI movement, and it's going to be a more natural feeling and more of a muscle memory as you move on and get better at the game. You won't even have to think about it. This is what I've done in the past to get better, and I'm really trying to focus on my gameplay this year. I feel like I can be a lot better than what I am in the past couple of years in MLB The Show 21 and MLB The Show 20. I was really good at MLB The Show 19, and I think I fell off. I didn't practice as much. I'm trying to fix that. Those are my errors that I'm trying to fix this year. So I am spending a lot more time in custom practice, practicing the same tools that I'm teaching you here today. So use these tools if you want to get better at MLB The Show 22. And I promise you, if you put in the time, you put in the work, if you really want to get better and you want to become a better player online, this will help you. Now, as you get used to moving the PCI, start swinging a little bit. Not all the time, but just start taking a couple hacks at a few of the balls and see if your PCI feedback is a lot better than what it used to be. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but it will take practice, like I said. Now, the next thing you can do, now this is going to help your eye, is once you have all these, you want to make sure they can throw you balls as well. So then you uncheck all of them. You press start, and now they can throw you balls and strikes. So now you have to be ready to swing at pitches or take pitches out of the zone, and this will help your eye. So the first section was just all about hitting those pitches on the corners. Now we're talking about taking pitches outside the zone. Now I struggle with this a lot. As you see, I'll be swinging at pitches that are outside the zone. Online, I'm a little bit more patient. I typically take, so I have 2 strikes sometimes. That's what another thing I'm trying to practice online is taking until I have 2 strikes. Sometimes that will definitely help, especially at the beginning of the game. Test your opponent out. Is he able to throw strikes? If not, get ahead of the count, force them to throw strikes, and you're going to get a better pitch to hit. Now, if he's just dodging you and throwing strikes, you're going to know that you got to swing early in the count, because that's when you're getting the best pitches to hit. But the first couple innings, even at least the first inning, I'd be taking pitches, seeing if my opponent is actually going to throw a strike, because then you could take advantage of being ahead of the count if he's throwing balls straight out the gate. And that's something I would practice. Now, if you struggle righty-righty or you struggle lefty-righty or whatever you struggle, that's typically the person or the batter I would choose for this practice. But you can also practice with multiple batters if you want. You can always just change a batter whenever you want. I'm just giving you guys a base starting point for you guys so you guys know what you should work through. So we talked about going through fastballs, get your bat speed up. Once you got your bat speed up and you are early on those fastballs, bring in the breaking balls, start practicing with those inside the zone. Then once you're done with that, go ahead and start working on pitches that you struggle with. So if you struggle with sinkers inside, work on sinkers inside. If you struggle with sinkers outside, work on sinkers outside, or whatever the pitch may be. It doesn't have to be facing Randy Johnson. If you want to face someone with sinkers, you can face someone with sinkers. The idea is here is just practice on pitches that you struggle with in this section. Once you got that done, go back, turn on all the pitches, and then practice with all the zones, and then practice your eye, whether you're swinging at balls and strikes, and that will help you become a better hitter. Another thing that you can do is find a PCI placement that you like and just sit there. Like I like anchoring up and in for lefties, but let's say if I'm using a righty against a lefty, I'm using a righty against a lefty, like we can go ahead and throw in like a Trout. I like to sit up middle. As you see, my PCI is up and in the middle. This is where I like to sit lefty versus righty. Now, let's say we have a righty pitcher. I like to just sit in the middle. Typically, if he throws a lot of high pitches, I will sit up the middle. But typically, I do like to sit just regular down here, but I'll move my PCI freely. I'll sit a little bit inside a little bit, but I don't, my anchor's always in the middle. I don't really anchor. If I want to move it, I'll move it. But my anchor is just sitting right here. I won't anchor anywhere else. Normal PCI. And that's just the way I feel comfortable, but I do it every single time with that same batter. So I'm comfortable with it. I'm used to the muscle memory with it. I'm righty. This is typically what I'm doing unless my opponent is really teasing me in certain areas. Like if he's throwing up and in a lot, maybe I will cheat up and in just to get ready for it. But typically, this is my starting point at the beginning of the game, and it typically will not change unless my opponent's tendencies are very, very predictable. That way I get used to the muscle memory of it being like that. Now, people say, well, your muscle memory can be the same for that, but once you go to a lefty, it's gonna be different. That is true. So like some people, they don't mess with the anchor, or they'll anchor the same area every time. It's whatever works for you, do that. I'm just giving you guys what works for me, what has worked for me so far this year. As I'm getting better and progressing, I'm hitting a lot better now, and that's what I've been doing. So that's why I'm telling you this. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you out. If it did, leave it down in the comments down below. Leave a like. Subscribe if you guys are new and turn those notifications on so you guys don't miss out on any future videos. And until next time,